It's a blueprint, a rubric, a guiding light to meet deadlines. It's formulaic to Dorothy's court, so give us more of the norm. Come along, it's formulaic.
What's up, everybody? I'm Shelby.
And I'm the one where we write Friends script.
And this is formulaic.
Throwing my co-host off still to this day.
I mean, I appreciate it because, you know, when you throw those curveballs at me, I have to learn how to balance better.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me agile.
I'm throwing a curveball as if it's a fastball.
Yeah, and then I have to, in return, throw it right back at you as fast as one of Chandler Bing's little sarcastic quips.
Oh, they stab me so. Oh, and I'll throw you a speedball.
And I will do that speedball like a drug the way Joey would. I don't know. Do any of them do drugs?
No, I thought you were going to say as God intended.
As God intended.
As God is my witness, Christ did drugs.
Christ did drugs. James is your name.
Uh-huh.
In case anyone hasn't heard this before.
Oh, yeah, I didn't explain my name. Hey, guys, I'm James. Welcome into Formulaic, a show where we write a script of a formulaic show, and then we pump it out, then do a table read.
Boy, do we pump it out.
Uh-huh.
We love pumping out scripts the way gym bros like to pump iron.
We're pumping and dumping.
Yes. Oh my God, it sounds horrible.
No, that's breastfeeding shit, dude. You pump and dump. Oh,
I know.
Now you're like Nicole,
just
just thinking breastfeeding is disgusting.
I did not say that, and I do not think breastfeeding is disgusting. I do not think pumping and dumping is disgusting. I do think the phrase pumping and dumping is a disgusting sounding phrase.
Yeah, because sometimes people do that for like, I pump my hits.
Ejaculate.
Yes,
yeah.
and then dump my seed in someone.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. And, you know, when it's you, James?
Yes.
Are you more like... Then again, it's anybody's guess if you're more likely to be talking about breast milk or jizzing in a jar.
Or I'm talking about using a super soaker. I'm pumping it up and dumping it down a kid's goddamn throat because...
Probably don't say that in the same like.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but also in the context of a super soaker. Okay, all right, I will change it because dumping is a phrase for like shooting someone. So I'm literally pumping and then dumping on all these neighborhood ruffians who are like, we need a big kid to supervise. And I'm like, you guys are nerds. What are you doing? And then I'm supervising a beatdown of me on them.
Right. Okay. I take a small exception at the idea that the word dumping is used to refer to dumping bullets into people. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I accept the rest of your explanation and your defense. You're acquitted.
I know slang terms, guys. Dumping also means pooping.
It definitely means pooping, and that's what we're here to talk about today, folks. We're talking about poop. Wait, no. We're talking about Friends. We're talking about the very formulaic TV show Friends.
Oh, my God. Friends, what's your experience with them? Did you have them growing up?
I sure did, James, and I still have them now.
No.
No, I have them forever. They're locked in my room. No, I have no friends. No, I'm just kidding. I have so many.
Quit bringing me on this roller coaster.
The show Friends, I did watch here and there. Like, my friends were much more into it than I was. But it was like always on when I was hanging out at my friend Michelle's house. And I've seen lots of episodes. And then for this podcast, I went and watched some more of it.
What is it, Michelle Trenchenbotchen?
Yep, that was my friend when I was a kid, Michelle Trenchenbotchen.
Hell yeah, she was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Michelle Trenchenbotchen from the little sister from Buffy. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Oh, man, Michelle Trenchenbotchen, hell yeah. Hey, guys, they mentioned Buffy, will they do it? No, I hate Buffy.
I don't want to watch an episode of Buffy again.
Yeah.
I saw them all. I don't want to see them again.
It's bad, guys. I enjoyed watching it with TC, but I don't want to watch them anymore.
Yeah, we're not going to do Buffy. Also, it's not as like, I mean, it is a Monster of the Week. It could totally work. But there's so many Monster of the Week stuff. Like, and we all know, listen, there are only a certain number of formulas. Like, we could do any show for this podcast because any sitcom is going to have a basic formula to it. Friends is no exception.
Oh, I thought you were setting me up to be like, hey,
Yes.
James. Okay, all right.
I am. Tossing it over to you.
Hey, guys. As I was watching Friends, which I didn't really watch, my mom loved the show. I remember sitting down with the family to watch the series finale as an event. That is in my head. And then I watched it a little bit when we first moved to Chicago. Nicole watched the entire series because she either did not have a job or had a part-time job at the time. And then I had a full-time job. So she's like, I don't know, man. I'm just going to be crying all day and see what happens. She was very depressed and then is good now. So
That's good. I'm
not
glad.
because we were in Chicago, but because we talked about it on some fucking show. It's probably patreon.com/MLM pod or Mostly Speaking Sentai. Listen to one of those. You'll hear the story recently. We said it. So I don't really have a lot of Friends experience, but I'm aware of it. I know all the guys. You have Joseph, you have Bing, you know, it's a Microsoft thing. And then Gail Weathers. That's all three of them.
Gail Weathers. And those are the three friends.
Uh-huh. You only need 3 friends groups, you know?
Right. There are more than 3. There are at least 3.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Friends.
speaking of 3, there are 3 main acts in a sitcom, which we'll get to. So while I was watching, I was like, what is like the formula or the breakdown of either Friends or what I found was a sitcom in general? I found an article in The Atlantic. It's titled Cracking the Sitcom Code by Noah Charney. So I'm going to just break this down, paraphrasing them. And when I'm direct quoting, I'll let you guys know if I'm direct quoting. They state in this article, every sitcom has an A plot and a B, sometimes C plot. It comprises of 3 main acts with 3 to 5 scenes per act. Main characters in these sitcoms barely change from one episode to the next, meaning, hey, R2 and I, we can literally do whatever we want with these characters, even though we could as we please. This is our own technical fan fiction, but to actually stick with how things are, we can do whatever as long as they are alive in the end and no huge life choices were made. We can't be like, yeah, no, Ross gave up custody of his child. Like, that would be really fucked up for us to do.
Yeah.
Even though that dude sucks so hard.
Ross? Yeah, Ross is literally the worst. Like, even watching the first episode, it's like, oh my God, this guy fucking.
I started in the middle and watched pretty much all of season 6, and that's when he gets married in Vegas to Rachel, and then he doesn't, like, he lies about getting a divorce, but God, he sucks so bad. All right.
Yeah.
Then in this article, poet Philip Larkin described all plots of a sitcom being a beginning, a muddle, and an N. We begin with the character starting a goal or problem that must be solved and which we understand will be solved by the end of the episode. If the problem is too quickly solved, then the episode won't be stretched out to 22 minutes. So the first attempt at reaching the goal or solving the problem must fail. That is the muddle, requiring a new approach before the episode ends and the protagonist either does or does not achieve what they set out to do. Oh yeah, and because we it's like, wait, shouldn't they be solving these issues? No, because as the article states, another hallmark of sitcoms is the protagonist frequently failing, and we often want them to because we don't want our favorite characters to change too much.
Yeah, it's really fun to see some of this stuff that we have been implementing and we do know intuitively.
Yeah.
Written out in such a clear manner.
So this is broken down into how many segments? 5 segments. So let me quickly go through those. The first one is the teaser, or the bumper. It's what comes before the theme song. This is from minutes 1 to 3. It's a bit before the opening theme. It's a setup punchline of a single situational joke, and oftentimes will let the viewer know character traits of who we're seeing, just in case they're first-time viewers, and sometimes presents us with the issue the character will be handling in one of the plot lines, but it doesn't necessarily need to do that. Next, we have the trouble, which is from minutes 3 to 8. I think this is like sans the theme song, of course, because that sometimes can be a minute and a half to 2. Or if you love like Super Sentai and whatnot, sometimes it's like 3 minutes long. Get out of here with that bullshit. So this is when we are when we are fully introduced to the conflict that will become the A plot. I guess should I have sent this to you, R2, so you can read along?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And this also contains a plan that should be created on how they hope to solve the issue. Around the 6th minute mark, we might be introduced to a subplot, the B plot. Subplots are brief. If it links to the outcome of the main plot, awesome, but it doesn't need to. Think of each subplot as a main plot in miniature, likewise with a beginning, middle, and end, just in shorter doses.
Right.
Next, we have the muddle. This is from minutes 8 to 13, or as what we could think of as like page 8 to 13. The plan is executed, but is not solved as the character would hope. The conflict is still there. So they need to tackle it from a different angle. As the wise sloth writes, the characters must, in quotes, confront the obstacles according to their own personal style, which we'll get into like what motivates each of the friends later on. Minutes 9 to 12 provide the middle or the muddle of the story of the B plot. The secondary characters overcome a minor obstacle towards their goal. And then minutes 12 to 13, we return to story A and see the main plan diverted. 2 more. We got the triumph/failure. That's from minutes 13 to 18. As Noah Charney is quoted in the article, in quotes, by this time, the protagonist is getting desperate and the stakes are high. They've already tried once and failed. They turn to a last resort, put it into play, and it works or it doesn't. Minutes 13 to 15 reestablishes the action of story A, but pause before the payoff of whether or not the backup plan will work. Minutes 15 to 17 conclude story B. The secondary character either does or does not accomplish what they set out to do, and this may or may not affect the outcome of story A. I think this is beautifully executed in a lot of that 70s show where the A, B, and C plots all diverge into one. Watch that if you really want a crash course in how all the storylines can mash together. But
yeah, of course, or listen to our table read episode of Step by Step.
Yeah, that too. Oh yeah, we did do that too. Because I was specifically thinking that 70s show. I was like, I want it to be like those cool guys. But minutes 17 to 18 show whether the protagonist succeeds or fails in story A. End quote there. Then finally, the kicker. This is also called like the tag. Sometimes, like Community does them very well. This is like the teaser intro segment before the credits. They usually are an outro, sometimes while the credits are rolling, which shows the protagonist in the aftermath of the episode's action. We find it comforting to see that nothing has really changed and life has reset back to where it started and primed for the next episode. It might end with a nice punchline at the end that brings back a joke from earlier in that episode, which, Step by Step, very good at doing.
I do wish you had sent this to me so I could have edited it down a bit.
Uh-oh.
I could have gotten through that a little more concisely.
Hold on, let me... it was 9 minutes long. But my editing will be down to, 8 minutes long.
Listen, James, I only have 2 podcasts. Are you expect me to go 9 minutes without saying anything on this one?
Oh, you wanted to be you could have jumped in, but I was like, hey, there's a lot of writing here, so I need to keep
gotta
going.
get through it. Right. We had to deliver the information. And now here we are at the end.
Yes.
So we're going to take this and we're going to apply it to Friends, which will be very easy to do. The main thing that we're adding into the mix with this basic plot is the characters and what their motivations are. So do we want to go through potential episode titles first, or do we want to talk about the motivations of the various friends?
I would say the motivations, and then we can go through the episode titles, because then it's like, how would each of these, now that we know their motivations, how would they start reacting?
So we've got, I think there's 6 main friends.
Yes.
Monica, Chandler, Ross,
Yes.
Joey,
Oh, yeah.
Phoebe, and Rachel.
And I've broken these down into 3 different groups because I think you could make 3 pairs out of these 6 people, and they kind of act the same ways in their own different ways. And you'll figure out what I mean once I break all of this down. Can I hit it?
Hit it.
All right.
Hit it, baby. I want to know.
And this is much shorter. So Ross is a fragile man who is afraid of what people think of him. Outside opinions shape what he does.
Okay.
So because they are siblings, I think they act similar. Monica, like Ross, is driven by the thoughts of others, but does it in a type A, not sad sack tone reeking of desperation way. She will do things her own way and make sure others are doing things her way as well. So she appears to others as the perfection that they strive to be.
She's a very high-achieving individual.
So Joey, his motivations are women, comfort, fame in his acting. That's it. And then Phoebe is a wild card, is kind of like our Mr. Burns in the sense that it's probably most fun to write for Joey and Phoebe because you can kind of have them say or do whatever they want, specifically Phoebe, and it doesn't really pull too much from the character. So she doesn't appear to be motivated by much else than maintaining her oddball lifestyle and the comfort she's been given. As long as we, the writers, can justify why something would make her happy, it's fair game.
Great. Fantastic.
And then Chandler and Rachel seem to be the characters right in the middle of our 2 ends, one side being Ross and Monica and the other being Joey and Phoebe. They care about their careers, but not overtly to the point where it defines or inconveniences them like Ross and Monica and sometimes Joey. They care about their, oh wait, I already said that. Oh, they're I was like, why did I write that? They're horned up, but it doesn't drive every decision they make like Ross and Joey. Wow, it just... Joey's really in there on a lot of stuff. And they're kind to their friends, but will criticize politely in the guise of sarcasm in Chandler's case. But they also won't go above and beyond like the others might to be like, oh, I really need you to like me, friends.
Right. They're more solid and they're like, this is my personality. It's not going to change to make someone like me. Whereas Monica and Ross are probably the ones most likely to like lie about stuff to seem better.
Yeah, or there was an episode where Joey had the keys of a Porsche and he pretended it was his. So then he bought a bunch of Porsche like branded logos and whatnot so he could like get women and have people think he's cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. That goes with his motivation. With people like Joey and Phoebe, because they don't have that strong motivation, like lying isn't even really a big thing. It's like they could use that at any point.
Yeah.
Where this character would lie about something. But I always thought, Chandler also has that distinct personality. I guess if you think about it in terms of their vibes rather than their motivations, like, let me hit you with their vibes. Like, obviously, Ross, sad sack, mopey, doesn't take responsibility for his own emotions. and troubles kind of guy.
Is constantly reacting to situations like,
Yeah, like, but how does it affect me? Ross sucks. We can all agree.
Yeah.
Monica, yeah, she's just trying to type A, do everything, achieve what she can, and live her life. Chandler, he's got that sarcastic vibe. He's hitting you with quips. He's always doing the snarky little things.
Yeah. My friend Joe from Hit It and Crit It, he's a Bing, okay?
He's a Bing.
Yeah.
I feel like Fourth Bro might be kind of a Bing.
Oh, no.
No, like in a good way. I had a crush on Chandler when I was a kid.
You're heating on the fourth. The fourth bro, more like the fourth Bing.
Rachel's whole thing is that she was rich. Like, she came from a wealthy family and then got disowned or whatever.
Which I was watching season 6. It wasn't until like the 13th episode that was ever brought up.
That it was brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that they kind of dropped that as like, that's how she's introduced, but it doesn't become the main aspect of her character, which is good because you can't have like the silly, naive, rich girl when you already have Phoebe, who's like the silly, goofy, naive kind of, weirdo. They're doubling up too much. So that's Phoebe's vibe. And then Joey, he just seems kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And very simple. But they all get along so well. They're such good friends. Maybe that's why the show is called that.
Oh, I was just thinking about Friends.
Yeah, these all sound really good. So should we get going with these episode titles?
Yeah, dude.
All right. The one with the alien abduction.
Oh, dude. Hell yeah.
We're starting off strong. You know, it could be like if Joey got abducted, no one would believe him.
But which could loop in at the end where like Phoebe's off doing other things and maybe like he was waking up somewhere like in the middle of Central Park and the second time he's abducted, he wakes up. This would be the tag, the teaser, the whatever's at the end. And he wakes up and like Phoebe's right next to him. And she like, he looks disheveled, but she looks calm and natural. And he like looks over and she goes, "Your first time?" And he's like, "Oh, wait, what? No, it's, have you? But it's actually my second time."
That's good. I like that a lot. The one with the podcast recording.
Oh, we can't keep doing podcasts. We can't keep doing it.
We can't do. Look, I couldn't make them all winners, James. The one with the Saw murder chamber.
Okay. Is this like an escape room, or do you really want to go into it? Or I guess it could be.
They get abducted by Jigsaw.
All right. And hey, how would they react to that?
Well, I think there would be a lot of screaming from Rachel. Probably Ross and Monica would be the ones like, "What are we going to do? We have to get out of here. We have to get out of Like, I'm quick, start looking for, ways out or whatever." And maybe Chandler would be like, "No, I can solve this riddle. If we outsmart him, then none of us have to die," or whatever.
That would be a good thing of Chandler trying to solve every puzzle and Joey just looking into the solution.
Yeah, that is good. And he would be mad. The one with a picture of Shelby's mom.
Okay. How so?
I don't know. I guess they just find a picture of her.
Okay, show me a picture of your mother.
You want to see one right now?
I mean, yeah, if you can't present that title and be like, "Yep, all right, James can get into the mind of this." No, I need to know what your mom looks like.
I need to see what my mom looks like. Okay, let me see what I can find. Okay, here's a picture of me and her.
Holy Christmas. That's Shelby's mom. I know her.
You know her?
Yeah.
All right, so how do you think the friends would react to a picture of my mom?
Just a picture of your mom. Is it like...
Yeah, I mean, well, isn't that the miracle of storytelling, James, is we could do anything with this picture. It could be on a billboard. It could show up in their apartment one day. They could see it on a flyer. They could go out, and my mom has purple hair. Maybe someone accidentally dyes their hair purple and get compared to my mom. Anything could happen. It
could be a promiscuous photo, and maybe Chandler and Monica are dating, and it's somehow in the house, and they're like, "Well, oh, Monica thinks it's him who brought it in," and she's like, "Are you cheating on me with this and that?" And they're like, "No, no, no," and only to find out like it slipped out of Joey's folder of audition photos or something. I don't know.
It's interesting that you decided it would be a sexy picture of my mom.
Well, the picture you just showed me was sexy.
Fair enough. Okay. The one where someone steps in poopy.
That one's good because it would be a nice episode that everyone steps in the poopy. So it's like they all of a sudden they're all in. I think we could throw it in Monica and Rachel or Monica and Chandler's house where they smell shit. And Monica's like, who stepped in poop? And at the end of the episode, we realize everyone's like, oh, I think you stepped in the poop because we were hanging out earlier. And everyone's accusing and showing, we see stories of them stepping in this poop, only to find out that day everyone stepped in poop.
They're all true.
Yeah.
Everyone stepped in poop. And it's a Murder on the Orient Express type situation. Where they're all guilty. I love that. The one with Night at the Museum starring Ben Stiller.
I just gotta pass on that one.
You don't want them to get caught in the museum at night with Ben Stiller?
No, because then we have to write so many characters of like dum dum bubble gum gum.
They can't all be winners, James. That's what I'm telling you. Okay, so it sounds like the alien abduction and the one where someone steps in poopy are the front runners. There's the most meat there.
I think the alien abduction works best for the structure of this.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
I only had one, which is the one with the wildfire smoke, because I like to come with like, what is currently ailing my health? And boy, oh boy, didn't know that these wildfire smokes were coming in, so all our windows were open. And yesterday, you can listen on the watch-alongs. That I recorded 2 watch-alongs yesterday. Well, with my lungs being full of just wildfire smoke, and I'm just constantly going, but we made it funny.
I'm glad you made it funny. I hope you don't pass away.
Likewise.
We could work wildfire smoke into an alien abduction episode.
Oh,
you know, like Joey could get a horrible cough. Okay, Joey could get a horrible cough from getting abducted the first time because there's all this smoke clearing when he wakes up. And so when he wakes up in the outro, when he wakes up next to Phoebe, she has like an oxygen mask or something and that she puts on him because she's like using it too. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm prepared for this.
Or that could be the guise of, he's like, oh, I thought I passed out in Central Park, but I got abducted. And everyone's like, no, dude, you were just outside during this wildfire smoke happening.
Right.
I think you just passed out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I think, okay, so we're going to have, that's the A plot, obviously. We're following Joey. He's trying to find out something about aliens.
I feel like that's the B plot.
That's the B plot. Yeah. I think you're right. So so the wildfire is going to be the A plot?
And how is everyone else reacting to having to kind of be inside all day?
Right. Okay. So they're staying inside all day and they're getting antsy about it. They are trying to find ways to entertain themselves. Maybe they're trying to play games. Maybe they're trying to tell ghost stories or scary stories or something. And that's why when Joey comes in and is like, I was abducted, they're like, fuck you.
I like the playing games that Monica and Rachel could just be playing Chutes and Ladders. And Monica is playing it so strictly to the book. And or some game that you would need to be so strict about. And then Rachel's just like, dude, you gotta chillax.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't say that, but she'd be like, oh, the rules are just kind of guidelines anyway. When she's losing.
But like even Monopoly that's not even a house rule, Monica. Or Rachel has all these house rules and is like blasé about it of like, you know what, hey, you want to know what? Don't like, oh, you owe me. Maybe Monica's losing and is Rachel's like, yeah, you owe me $332. And Monica's like, well, let me just make you exact change. And Rachel's like, no, man, just give me what you got. Like, you don't need to worry about that $2. Just give me $300. And Monica's like, no, I'm playing it by the book.
Yeah, that's good. And then she's like, that's one of the things where they're like, okay, we can't play this. We obviously can't play games.
Yes, I think
that's not going to work.
Or it goes from this very complicated game that is Monopoly, and then Rachel's like, okay, well, let's play checkers. There's no way you're going to like be pissed about checkers. And then Rachel does like one of those like when you skip and you get every single checker piece, and Monica's like, well, that's not the rules. That's not the rules. And then they look at the rules and she's like, well, I guess that's the rules. Okay. I don't know about that one.
Well, if you want to have Rachel win at the end, I think it's also maybe we need more stakes than just like they're trying to entertain themselves while they're stuck inside because there's a wildfire. Like,
I was thinking that because Chandler and Joey's apartment is kind of always disheveled, that there's a window in there that they've been meaning to fix, but that means like smoke is just constantly coming in today. So Chandler's just trying, like that's his thing. He like puts some tape on and he's like, okay, good. And then he sits down, then sees more smoke coming in and he's like, dang it. So then it's just, what can he throw in there to make it good?
So he's trying to cover up the smoke window.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got, it sounds like that'll be, I'm trying to think of what of these would be like a main plot. So maybe covering up the smoke window.
Maybe. I was also thinking that maybe Ross has to go to the college and he has to like pick up something and no, we can't just keep having everyone pass out like Joey did.
They can't be doing so many different things.
Yeah.
Like we already have 3 things. That's almost too many.
Oh, I do think because like I think Phoebe should be completely oblivious. She's just at her own apartment, just like sleeping the entire day.
Oh yeah, maybe they call her up. They're like, Phoebe, we're having a game day. Do you want to come over? And she's just like, no, the smoke makes me lightheaded, so I use as a chance to catch up on sleep or something like that. Like she's huffing the smoke to go to sleep.
Or do what Lil Corey did yesterday. And he was like, Phoebe could be like, I don't really like going outside when it's foggy. It's too dreary out. And then just hangs up and they're like, no, it's smoke. Because Lil Corey yesterday was like, man, it's really nice and foggy out. And I'm like, Lil Corey, no, that's smoke. Don't breathe it in.
Or we could also tie in the fact that Phoebe has a face mask.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That she has like one of those breather things, respirators or something. Okay, so let's think about this. We've got Chandler has stayed behind. Okay, maybe the A plot is that Ross, Rachel, and Monica are trying to entertain themselves in Monica and Rachel's apartment. Chandler stays behind to try to fix this window, right?
Yeah.
And Joey has been abducted by aliens and no one believes him.
So maybe he like goes to the library, or he's like, Chandler keeps asking him for help. And he's on the like internet, early web 1, just screaming, no, I need to prove to you guys that I did get abducted.
Yeah. Okay. So he's abducted, and when he wakes up in the morning, because Chandler calls him and is like, you're supposed to be here. We really got to fix this window because the smoke's so bad. And that's when Joey's like, what?
Yeah.
You got abducted by aliens.
And I think every time, like every proof he shows, Chandler just goes, that's E.T. And then he's like, damn it. And then he's like, that's Encounters of the Third Kind. Dang it.
Yeah. He's like, I think it looked something like this. And it's like, that's literally from E.T. That's what you're remembering it. You're remembering it.
And he's like, that's literally the Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, you should know this.
So maybe, yeah, Joey's running around trying to get this information, and we don't see a lot of that. What we see is him coming and interrupting Chandler trying to fix things.
Yeah.
He like barges back in and is like, I figured it out. This is the spaceship I saw. And Chandler is like, that's the spaceship from Close Encounters.
Yeah.
And maybe one time when Joey barges in, it like knocks over whatever Chandler put together.
Yeah. And I think Chandler could be going back, like a couple times go into Monica's apartment and be like, hey, do you have any glue? And then Monica could be like, well, what kind of glue? I have all kinds of glue. I have super glue. I have Elmer's glue. I have craft glue. I have wood glue.
She's prepared.
And then he goes, just give it all.
All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm trying to think of what we would start out with our teaser, our cold open. Do we want them to be, do we want it to be an unrelated thing, or do we want to involve like maybe Joey waking up? I think it would be a good cold open to have Joey wake up, you know.
And it's foggy.
And it's foggy in the park and he's just kind of like, and then maybe he sees like flashing lights above, like, you know.
He could be like, was I abducted? Have I been made an experiment of? And then he like grabs his butt and he's like, oh no, not my innocence. And then just like a random New Yorker is like, hey, why are you sleeping out here? Didn't you hear about the wildfires? You need to go home. And then he says like, he's like, I've been adopted by aliens. And then they could say, I don't know, like, what's a turn of phrase for something like that?
Well, I think it would be better. I think he does need somewhere to talk to. I think it would be good to have, like, I love the physical comedy of him feeling himself, making sure that his, like, butt is still there. But instead of having a random New Yorker call him, it should be, like, Chandler calls him, is like, hey, buddy, you never came home last night. Are you out there in all that smoke from the wildfires? And that's when Joey's like, no, I think I got abducted by aliens.
And then he screams that. And then Chandler goes, okay, well, I'll see you at the apartment, and then hangs up. And maybe he's hanging out with Ross, and Ross goes, oh, where's Joey at? And then he says something sarcastic of just like, who knows? Or like Joey being Joey, something along those
just
lines.
Joey being Joey is really good. And Ross is like, all right.
Or like, oh, what's Joe? Or who was that? And then he says, our weirdest friend. And he goes, Phoebe. And he goes, not anymore.
I love that. Okay.
There we go. We got it.
We got it. And then it's, I'll be there for you.
I'll be waiting.
So that's when Monica pokes her head into Chandler's apartment. Ross is there for some reason, visiting or whatever. Or I don't know where all these people live. Monica pokes her head in and is like, hey, so since we don't want to go out in the fog today, we're going to have like a game day inside. Do you guys want to come join? And also, why is it so why is it so smoky in here?
She smells and she goes, were one of you guys...
Did you try to cook again? Ross, did you try to cook again or something like that? Ross, did you try to make an omelet again?
Or smells and she goes, when did you guys start cooking?
Yeah.
You guys don't do that.
And why does it smell like burning? Maybe Chandler says something like, oh, that's old trusty old Canadian pine or whatever's burning. What is burning? And it's, wafting in. I need to fix this window, but you guys go have fun. Yeah. And Ross is like, oh, go. No one else wants me around anyway.
I can't fix a window. I can barely fix any relationship I've had.
I wouldn't even be any help anyway. And Chandler's like, it sounds like you're just trying to get out of it, but I think you might be right here.
I already have a broken window. I don't need a broken person.
I don't need a broken person. Oh my God, that's so good. So they leave Chandler behind. They go into the apartment. They're like, and Monica has like board games laid out. They're like, and she's like, hey, take your pick. I'm going to call Phoebe and see if she wants to come over too. And that's where Phoebe answers is like, I don't go out in the fog. And she's like, it's not foggy. It's smoky or whatever. You can't sleep or like through this or whatever. You're sleeping because you're lightheaded or something. And Phoebe's like, oh, I'll just put on my mask. I don't know. We'll work in the mask somehow. What do you think?
I think this is actually, they call and she's already in bed and they're like, hey, do you want to come over or what are you up to? And she's like, oh, no, just I'm not doing anything, just huffing on my oxygen tank. And they're like, what? Oh, wait, is the smoke getting into your apartment? And she's like, what smoke? And she goes, wait. The wildfires are happening right now. Like there's smoke everywhere. And she goes, oh, that's what that is? I thought it was just dreary out.
That's very good. Then there's a pause for laughter. And then Phoebe's like, anyway, I'm going to go back to sleep. Enjoy your bonfire or whatever, because she like completely misunderstands the whole exchange. And Monica's like, no, that's not, whatever.
Well, Phoebe's out of the question. That's what she would say.
And she's like, what did you guys decide on? And they're like, oh, let's do Monopoly. She's like, okay, really complicated right off the bat. Well, I, have to admit I'm a pretty well-known savage Monopoly player or something like that. Like she's like bragging about how good she is at playing Monopoly.
Maybe Ross should say like, yeah, she's pretty ruthless. She's not so much a landlord. She's a slumlord while playing this.
We can workshop it. Maybe if we put the slumlord at the end.
Wait, what slumlord at the end?
Oh, just the word slumlord. So I was just thinking about the structure of the joke of like, she's not a landlord, she's a slumlord.
I thought that's what I did say. Who knows? I forget the things I say. I thought let's put it at the end.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I didn't need to correct that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, correct it in the writing, bro.
I'm sorry, James. I got flustered because I think I got a package. I don't know.
Get it? Maybe it's your Blu-ray complete series of The Friends.
It's not. So then I think they probably just start setting up the game, and then we cut over to Chandler. Right. So Chandler looks at it. He's like, assessing it, and he starts, trying to pull it close. We've got a lot of physical comedy going on here. He's pulling it, and he just like can't get it to work. He's like shaking it, and then he's like maybe like shaking it. Maybe he knocks on it, and then Joey knocks on the door in the same way, and it like scares him. So you've got this, he jumps, and then Joey barges in, and Chandler's like, hey, I'm glad you're here. I need you to help with this. And Joey's like, I can't. I was abducted by aliens last night. And Chandler's like, that's not what I expected to hear today. Or something like that. He says some snotty shit. He like looks at the camera when he says it. And Joey's like, no, I woke up. He's telling the story. He's like, I remember last night I was blah, blah, blah. Like, he says what he was doing. And then he's like, and after, the 10th shot of whiskey, I can't remember a single thing. And, there's laugh track. And Chandler's like, I think you just passed out in the park, buddy. And Joey's like, no, but I saw a ship. I saw these strange lights over me. And when I woke up, I felt like I couldn't breathe, like all of that. And he's inconsolable. He's like, I need to find out more information about this. Where would they carry information about aliens? And Chandler does something like at Blockbuster under A or something.
Or, I don't know, the internet.
I don't know, the internet.
I would like... when he comes in, he's like, hey, can you fix me this? And he goes, no, I've been probed. And he's like, well, you won't be hearing me probe you for any I'm not going to be probing you for any answers. And then he keeps going and was like, I literally don't want to hear about this.
I do not want to hear about this. Yeah. So then that's their little scene. Joey leaves. Chandler's left to figure out this window thing again. At this point, we'll cut back to the Monopoly game.
I have a really funny idea for how he will, he tries to close it up, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
So the Monopoly game is going. Should it now be like they've set up and we start seeing a bunch of hotels on it? Or is that too quick for it to escalate to this?
No, I like that because it's like maybe they're playing fast and maybe Chandler has been working on this window for a while.
You expect Monica to be the one with all the hotels, but Monica just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then puts her her face in her hands, and then Rachel goes, "Hey, I have hotels there. You owe me this much."
Yeah, she's like, "Ooh, give me money."
Yeah.
Ooh, give me. Like, she's so excited to get the money. And Ross is like, get, like, you know, he says something about how he's used to losing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's like, you know, that thinks, you know, now you know what it's like to be me, a loser.
Yeah, and he's relishing in it because he's like, oh my God,
Right.
someone is finally taking her down.
You finally understand what it's like for me every day. And then Ross, he's like supportive. He's like, I like that Rachel is winning this.
And maybe Rachel goes, I thought you said you were good at this game, Monica.
And Monica's like, well, I had that bad roll off the bet, and then you and all of your house rules.
And can the house rule be like, do you mean getting 200 when you land on go? And she's like, that is a house rule. It's not explicitly in there that it's once you pass go. And they're like, it's tomatoes.
And eventually, you know, and then Monica at that point is like, okay, that's it. Obviously, Monopoly is not entertaining for us. We're not having fun doing this. And Rachel's like, I was having fun. And Monica's like, let's pick a different game, you know, something else that we could do. Or maybe let's watch a movie or something. We
should also have Ross, after I was having fun, and Ross should be the most upset because he's like, no, I'm having the time of my life.
Right.
After 30 years of having to deal with her. And he, I think, should start seeing throughout this Rachel as the Joan of Arc is taking down the tyrant that he has grown up with and finally is going to relish in this, only for Monica to be like, no, and pull that away from him.
Right. But at the end, what we're building toward is the switch around where at the end, Monica just has to accept it, right? Yeah, okay, cool.
Because that's her thing, is she wins everything. So that's the muddle. Oh my God, I didn't win. What's the other thing that she's really good at? Maybe they start baking and then Rachel just does like a very simplistic thing, whereas Monica was trying to do something crazy. And it's like, oh yeah, these are just pigs in a blanket. And then Ross is like, these are so good. And then maybe the smoke in the air caused a flambe to like not poof up. And then, yeah.
Or she couldn't get the oven the right temperature because the smoke in the air and like it got really hot in the apartment while they're baking. Yeah, so maybe after the end of the Monopoly, when she's losing Monopoly, she's like, forget it, let's do something else. Oh, I know, why don't we have a baking competition? Me and Rachel will each bake something, or like we'll have a baking competition, you know? And Ross is like, I'm not gonna bake anything. And they'll be like, well, you can judge. And so Rachel and Monica, and Rachel's like, oh, but you're so good at baking, Monica, and all I know how to make is a simple chocolate chip cookie or something like that. And Monica's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm sure they'll both be good, but, you know, one of them will be better.
Yeah. After that, I think this would be the third and final thing that they do. Monica's like, well, I bet I could beat all of you guys in races. And they're like, no, we should not be going outside. And she's like, no, I can do this. My lungs are strong. I'm a smoker. And then at the end, when like, you know, everything crescendos and we're learning everything, we see them coming from the stairwell, just dragging Monica like shoulder to shoulder. I think that would be a nice way to end it.
She's like wheezing. They're like, you don't have to be the best at everything. I mean, you're the best at like, you put together a whole fun day for us to entertain us during this. Like, that's nice enough. But anyway, I don't know if they get really that heartfelt on Friends.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, good. So after they decide that they're going to do a baking thing, we're going to cut back over to Chandler.
Yes.
At this point, he has built some contraption to try to get the window closed.
I was thinking just he puts duct tape on it. He's like, duct tape fixes everything. I saw it on, Tim the Toolman Taylor tells me. He slaps that on and the smoke stops and he's like, awesome, great. Sits back down in his chair and then not only smoke is billowing in, but like the duct tape just catches on fire and he's like, no, puts it out. And he's like, where the hell did we get this duct tape? Then he looks at it and it's called like ducky adhesive strips. And he's like, what? Or maybe it's just like a bunch of lettering that is not a language. And he's like, where did Joey find this? Just saying like, oh, the duct tape lit on fire.
Because it's alien duct tape.
No, not that it's alien. Just like this is so low rent and low budget that he probably spent 10 cents on this huge roll that it's just dangerous chemicals that if it hits smoke, it will just light on fire. I don't know.
Or it could be, you know how when you open a door, it can make like the window curtains blow? Mm-hmm. Maybe when he finishes, he gets the final touch of duct tape. It's so much duct tape.
Oh,
he
yeah.
used like a couple rolls. Joey flings open the door, barges into the apartment, and it immediately causes the duct tape to just like blow out and fall off the window.
That's much better.
Well, that way we don't have to then explain why duct tape is catching on fire.
I mean,
we already have Joey getting abducted by aliens.
I just can't. If I could think of something like, maybe it's just like duck adhesive and there's like a picture of a duck's foot on it. And he's like, are they using duck hooves?
It's using duck hooves. The way we use horses for glue.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, yes. We can work that in somehow.
All right. We'll figure that out. Oh,
It'll
maybe
be duck and then and Chandler could be like, damn it, I knew I shouldn't have gone for the off-brand duck adhesive. And Joey's like, isn't that made out of duck feet?
Yeah, I was gonna say like Chandler's like, dude, I just did all of that. I used like 3 rolls of duct tape, and Joey's like, oh yeah, you shouldn't be using that. That got recalled. And he's like, why? Oh, it's just made from ducks. And he's like, what?
It's actually made from ducks. And like Chandler makes his stupid, disgusted face.
And then he goes, but we don't have time for that. I found who abducted me.
Here's all the pictures of this guy. I was looking at a picture of this spaceship and I thought it looked familiar. Look at this. And Chandler's like, that is from E.T.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I think this is the alien that abducted me. Like that he's showing them both at the same time. And Chandler's like, Joey, that is E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a movie that you have seen.
And he goes, well, what about this? This definitely, I saw it reached down, picked me up, and started talking to me. And he's like, that is Optimus Prime from a cartoon.
But I also seem to remember this, like, motherly figure reaching for me and holding me when I was, you know what? That's just a memory of my mother.
Yes, yeah, I love that. You think like, oh, we got the rule of 3, but then he says a 4th one, but no, he's the one who calls that one out.
Right. Then he's like, okay, but if those aren't the aliens who abducted me, like I need to find more information. What if it happens again? And Chandler's like, did they take anything from you? Like, did they rob you? Did they, maybe if you just don't drink 10 shots of whiskey and pass out in the park, this won't happen. Yeah, something like that.
I would like Joey if he's like, well, let me check. And he like pulls out his wallet and he's like, okay, I still got still got my prophylactics. And then he puts that back in and he's like, okay, still have my $20 bill, still have my like credit card. And Chandler's like, wait a second, that's my credit card, and like snatches it back from him.
That's so good. Oh, I have an idea. And then, so Joey, maybe he's looking through his wallet and he sees like a matchbook, or like, I don't know, do people still use matchbooks, or like a card from the bar he was at the night before? And he's like, I know, I'll retrace my steps from last night to see if I can find out what truly happened to me. So he goes back to the bar intending to and Chandler's like, by retrace your steps, do you mean you're gonna drink another 10 shots of whiskey. And Joey's like, it's the only way to find out. So he leaves again.
Yeah, we don't even need to see him go to the bar. That will just be the
absolutely
last part of the...
That's exactly.
Yeah.
We don't see Joey again until the outro. So at that point, at that point, we have to go back to the game and the baking. They've baked and they're all sweating. They're like, we shouldn't have done something we needed to use the oven for when we can't open the windows and there's smoke everywhere. But they're sweating. Rachel presents her chocolate chip cookie. She's like, it's, I think I remembered the recipe. I did the best I could. And Monica's like, here you have a chocolate souffle with a whipped, whatever topping and a maraschino cherry reduction or whatever. And then she pulls it out and it's like a little burnt or like,
It's like poofed down and...
It's like poofed down.
Remember that. I came up with such a great way to tie these two things together.
Oh, the baking?
Yeah, the baking and what Chandler's doing. I came up with a really clever idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, after they've decided Rachel is one, Chandler comes in and he's like, hey guys, I'm just looking for something to seal my window up. And he looks right at what Monica's holding.
Monica's souffle.
And he's like, hey, that'd be perfect. Grabs it and leaves.
That's so funny. Yeah, so... Or maybe Ross is there gloating, so Ross will hand it to him and be like, you could try some of this.
No one else is using this.
So at first, I think when Ross tries her souffle, or she's like, it collapsed, but I think under the circumstances, it still is going to taste really good. And then he tries it and he's like, you know what? It's kind of dry or something. And she's like, you're just trying to spite me, because he was amazed at Rachel's cookie. He loved it so much. He's like, you know what? It's kind of clingy on the mouth or whatever. And she's like, you're just making that up. And then she tries it and she's like, oh no, it is clingy on the mouth.
Or he says, it kind of tastes like duck feet.
And she's like, I don't know how this could have happened. I'm so off my game from this smoke. And then Chandler comes in. Monica is like, and then she does the thing with the running outside. Yeah,
I think Chandler just coming in saying, hey, I'm looking for something. Oh, that's perfect. Grabs it and leaves. That works better than Ross offering it up, because then Ross sees that in the moment, sees Chandler leave, then pans back to Monica just super giddy to being like, oh my God, how the mighty have fallen. And then she's like, that's it. I'll race all of you fuckers. She won't say fuckers, but the vibe's there.
I'll race all of you friends.
Uh-huh.
As she rips off her apron that she's wearing. Downstairs, outside, in 10 minutes, I'm going to be running a 100-meter dash down the street, and I will beat whoever is out there with me, whoever's not too chicken to race. She's freaking out and getting over it. And she walks out and Rachel's like, she's never had to deal with this, has she? She hasn't really had to. Well, I'm trying to think of something that'd be in character. Maybe Rachel will just be like, we're not going down there, are we? And Ross is like, absolutely not. And they just keep eating the cookie. So then we cut over to Chandler. He has to have finally found some way to get the window closed. Or maybe, I'm trying to think, I think it would be funny if someone came in and just was able to just close it immediately. That would be pretty funny. Or maybe the door banged open and then the window just slid close.
I'm trying to think of, we hear, he's in there and we hear from outside Monica screaming. So it's off screen. And when she slams the door to their apartment, it slides back down into place.
Okay, perfect. As he's walking in with his...
Yep.
With the souffle. So then he just tries the souffle and is like, ew. It's oh, it's kind of clingy in the mouth.
And tastes like duck feet.
Right. So his thing is solved because the window's closed and he just sits down and keeps eating the souffle anyway. Then we cut to Ross and Rachel carrying Monica inside. She's coughing. She's like, I went really fast, didn't I? And they're like, you did. You did go really fast.
And then because they're like holding her in the middle with her shoulders, like Ross puts his head behind Monica's head to like talk, like whisper to Rachel. And he says, fast hitting the ground.
Yeah. And Rachel's like, oh, you know, Monica, you don't need to win everything. We already think you're the best. Like, and that's where she has a little heartfelt thing. And Monica's like, oh, really? I just wanted to have like an entertaining day for us since we were stuck inside. And they're like, yeah, we appreciate it.
I would like as they're like carrying her up and they're like, we need to like get you out of these clothes. You smell like a campfire. And they're like, you weigh so much. And she's like, no, it's just my clothes. They hold sweat well.
They hold sweat. They really hold sweat well. Exactly. So they go and they're relaxing. And they go inside.
Can we make sure that aliens are actually Jesus Christ? So we can have callbacks to all of our recurring bits?
Sure.
Okay, I'm kidding. We don't need to do that.
Well, okay, Joey could be like, I remember now, it was a cross-like ship. Or was it? So then, of course, we've got the credits going. We've got the outro with, it repeats the same thing. Joey waking up in the park. He's like, huh, huh. He feels his body again. But this time he turns to the side and Phoebe is there with her oxygen mask. And she's like, first time getting abducted or something. And he's like, what? And then she just puts the oxygen mask on him and he like breathes and is just looking around confused.
Also, in the beginning when she's there, we should have her like drinking out of like a wine flute. Still with like when she's in bed. So then it goes to her. Like when he wakes up next to her in the park, she has the oxygen mask laying down with the wine as well.
With the wine as well.
But should he then wake up again? And it like, oh, he was never really abducted, or was he?
No, I love just ending it with like her being like first abduction, because then it also leaves ambiguity there of like, were they just both drunk? You know, and somehow meet up or like what, you know? Yeah. It could be anything.
Also,
I think we did it.
Yeah, we did. I do think when Monica runs downstairs and they're like, we're not going to go race, are we? No, they sit down, start eating the cookie. Rachel goes, I've never seen Monica like that. And then Ross goes, neither have I. Like, he's excited about it.
He's so happy.
And then there's a beat. And they're like, we've never seen Monica like that. And then they're like, we need to go downstairs.
I love that. That's fantastic.
We did it.
We did it. We wrote an episode of Friends.
Yay, yay.
And then we're going to write it out and do a table read. I'm so excited.
I think we might need, unless you want to do the table read by yourself, because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out. So you'll either need to do it by yourself or we'll need to do it really quick.
Well, let's talk about that off air.
Let's do it right now, dude. Why not?
Okay.
July 12th.
Doesn't seem like something someone would be interested in listening to.
Well, hey, the lovely people helped me pay to get my wisdom teeth out. So, hey, you want to know what? This is an update for you all.
We'll get you live on the wisdom tooth drugs. We'll get you podcasting so we can hear really loopy James. I'll tell you this, I probably won't do it without you because you're my buddy and you do the recordings. So we just want to make it.
You would just Zoom record it. Yeah.
That's true. But I like when you're there.
All right.
That was our episode of Friends. How do you feel about it?
I loved it.
I feel like it came together really well. And I know when we were talking through that, I wasn't thinking about the structure that you went through at all. I was just thinking like, this is the structure of a story.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we still fell in that structure. Yeah. We just weren't like, okay, now we're at this point, this page, because technically we are just breaking the episode. When we go into like actually type it out, that would be around when things start
lining up with
Yeah.
page numbers and stuff, of course. We did break it, didn't we? I had a very nice friend of mine said that he was really enjoying our podcast and it filled a hole that Story Break left. So tell your friends if they like Story Break and are looking for something to listen to, check out Formulaic.
Yeah, guys.
Podcast and script writing.
And if when the WGA strike is over, you need a writer's assistant, call these two fuckers. But R2's probably going to be like, yeah, James, I make much more money than a writer's assistant would ever pay.
Yeah, I do.
Guess what? I don't.
Yeah, call James up. I'm sending the job straight to you. Of course.
I would still put you, like, if I wrote anything, I would still put, like, it would be Marshland Monster and R2 Shelby too, because I'm positive 100% in the guild, neither of those names are taken. And I don't want to put McCollum for reasons, because I'm a petty bitch.
Oh, I see.
I'm not giving that name credit.
I would throw a Sweeterman in there. Why not? It's my name.
Holy shit. James Sweeterman.
Are you getting adopted by my family?
I have said to Nicole, oh, if we did get married, I would take your last name. And she's like, no, I don't want my last name. And then I go, you want to know what? You change your name to Shab and me, James Shab. And she's like, I think my mom might like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Is that her mom's maiden name? So that's so funny, and I love that. And a lot of marriage licenses, you can do a name change as part of it.
Yeah.
A legal name change, and it's both of you. Both of you can change your names. So you could change it to whatever the heck you want. You don't have to change it to one of your names.
Yeah.
You could be James and Nicole Microphone.
Oh, hell yeah.
You could be James and Nicole Podcast. And then when people make jokes like, can I speak to Mr. Podcast? They would be able to call you up.
Well, no, I would probably do like James Shelby 2 and Nicole Shelby 2.
And then there's me, R2 Shelby 2.
Yeah.
We're all a happy family. We're all friends.
Oh my God. Now it's Troll 2. Sorry.
If you want to hear more from me, check me out, twitch.tv/R2Shelby2, or my other very good podcast, The Rom Complex.
Yeah, guys, you'll hear me edit once a month. And hey, head over to patreon.com/The Complex so they can have me edit more.
That's true. The more subscribers we get, the more we will be able to pay James.
And what if all of a sudden you're like, we don't need to edit a single episode? James got it covered.
That would be amazing.
You'd love it.
I would love it, but I would need money to do that I do not have as of yet. So go ahead and throw some money over at patreon.com/theromcomplex and patreon.com/ what is your Patreon?
Well, that'll be in my plugs in just a second.
Okay.
Hey,
sorry.
guys. Head over to MLMpod.com to find out information about my other podcasts like Mostly Speakin' Sentai, Sweet Child of Time, Hit It and Crit It, The Height of Horror, and is that it?
Is that the name of a podcast? Or?
No. No, Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. I was like, I know I'm missing one. And then listen to my music under Marshland Monster. I have a new single with Dragon Boy Sway dropping July 7th called Ill-Fated Brigade. I have another one called Anal Dentata that is in the works. I'm getting a bunch of remixes of it. It's so good. R2's heard
It's
it.
really good.
Hell yeah, dude. It's going to be like an old dance single where it's the main song, an extended version, the instrumental, and then a bunch of remixes of it.
I'm excited. I love when you release music.
It's going to be good, guys. Be on the lookout. Have a instrumental album coming out in August and just a bunch of stuff in the works. If you need beats, if you need your music mixed, if you need your podcast edited, hit me up. I'm affordable, fuckers. And finally, please head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. Yeah. And, R2, you're on this week's episode of This Existed Talking Warriors of Virtue.
Yay! Fighting kangaroos.
So
It's
good.
Messed up.
Yeah. And if you're a $10 patron, you get exclusive content right now in the form of straight to Patreon. That's monthly. Lil Corey and I just did a watch along of Uncle Sam from 1997. It's so good. And aforementioned Howard Kramer / Dragon Boy Suede might be in the movie.
Ooh.
It's very good. Please check that out. And you get shout outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F., Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z, The Waz, Orion, he might be one of those people remixing the bitch, Jordan B, the Chaos Witch, my brother in common law, my bickle, Joshua Jakis. He just had a birthday a month ago. Steve Barnes of Sweet Child of Time. And he might be one of the motherfuckers remixing. And, oh, speaking of motherfuckers, well, I don't think this person's ever fucked a mother, but I'm pretty sure this mommy's been fucked. It's my mom.
Oh my God. James.
I'm going to bleep out. I said the F word too many times. That's my issue with it, not the context in which it was said. Lil Corey's BFF and roommate Shane, or soon to be former roommate, I should say, that fed twitch.tv/Corwinning. It's Corwin. And oh my God, my writing partner and one of my best buds. You can check them out on, I believe, twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. I don't know if they said that. It's R2Shelby2.
That's me. What a wonderful list full of people who love and support you. Well, that's been the episode. Now we say bye.
And I've been there for you.
Oh, and I'm Shelby.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Marshland Media
And OK Owl production.
produced by me, James McCollum.
And me, Shelby Sweeterman.
For more content, please visit mlmpod.com.
Or OKOwl.com.
And for the best way to support this podcast, please visit patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single week. Thank you very much for listening. Oh,